So, how has gaming been for 2017? I mean, we got the release of the Nintendo Switch, and we had a lot of new games this year that were highly anticipated, some succeeded, and some flopped. And I'm here to talk about the good that came out of 2017, the best that 2017 had to offer. So, why don't we dive in, shall we? I feel kind of bad for Sega. Year after year, they always push out a new 3D Sonic game, but their fans can never be pleased by them. They always have to compare them to the Sonic Adventure games, and this has been going on for over a decade. That seems pretty annoying. They also compare all the Sonic games to the classic 2D Sonic games, but Sega was able to release 2 new games this year. One was Sonic Forces, which I haven't heard a lot from, and I feel like I would have heard something from it if it were good. And there was also Sonic Mania, which I have heard a lot from. I heard it's pretty good too. So Sonic Mania is a callback to the 2D classic Sonic games, something that fans have been wanting, since, they can't like these 3D Sonic games. And this isn't just cut and paste, you also get to play as Tails and Knuckles, and you get to do these weird 3D section. Is that Sonic R? So basically, it's a nice callback to the classic games, and they also add some new features to make it unique, and this is actually great. Sega was actually able to please their fans for once. Nice job, Sega. So, indie games. They've been dominating gaming in recent years, and I think you all know what indie game that I'm going to talk about. Man, does this game have character. Originally, the idea of Cuphead seems like it would just be some random indie game idea, but then you see the style of it, and you realize that it's in the style of the cartoons back in the late 1900s. And that is very creative. Take that away, and it's just a random run-and-gun game. But with it, you have such a unique style, you have all these fun and unique boss fights, and you have such a very nice soundtrack. And I can't find any problems with it. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. There are a lot of people that find problems with it being hard, and I could see why people might say that. But at the same time, I do disagree with them, how they say that it's bad just because it's hard, because it's not just a random run-and-gun game. It's a game with style, a game with character. That's what you gotta look at with Cuphead. Sometimes it's not always about the gameplay. Indie games are so much more. Time for me to talk about the #1 fighting game of the year. I haven't been able to play Injustice 2 yet, but I'm planning on getting it for Steam, and I've also played Injustice Gods Among Us. Along with that, I've also seen gameplay from Injustice 2 and the Injustice 2 story mode, and I can tell you, it looks badass. So it's pretty much Mortal Kombat, both DC characters, so you have all these amazing DC characters doing all this badass fighting. And as for the roster, I'll admit I thought Injustice 1's roster was a little more solid, but this game also had a pretty good roster. It did some dumb choices like get rid of characters like Shazam and Deathstroke, but it also had some pretty cool choices like Scarecrow and Blue Beetle. As for the DLC, half of it is guest characters, which, it's alright. 2 of those are Mortal Kombat characters, which is kind of lame. And then you've got Hellboy, which people were pretty excited for, but I know nothing about him. Then you've got all 4 of the Ninja Turtles. And people were originally against this, like they thought it was so stupid. But come on guys, don't pretend like you don't love the Ninja Turtles. And then as for the DC characters, you had some pretty good DC DLC characters, like Red Hood, Starfire, and Black Manta. And man, this game is amazing. If you ask me, the story mode wasn't as good as the original, but that's just my opinion. And this story mode was still amazing and so awesome to see. So this game was able to improve on everything from a game that was already great. And I just want to compliment DC for a little bit here. Everyone always says that Marvel has better movies than DC does, but I've also heard the complaint that DC has better video games than Marvel. And DC this year was doing pretty good. They had 2 great DCEU movies, and they had this amazing video game. Good luck with that, Marvel. Let's see how your new video game went. Oh, what's that? It did terrible because you focused more on competitive play and made it pretty much just another Street Fighter V. Looks like you're not as good as Injustice. Eat it, Marvel. With the release of the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo released a bunch of new games for that. They had new IPs, they had ports, they had shitty licensed games, and they also had some new games from their old series. And no, I'm not going to talk about Legend of Zelda, The Breath of the Wild, because honestly, I don't care about Legend of Zelda. But I'm here to talk about Super Mario Odyssey. Now that is a great game, and that's how you make a 3D Mario game. This game has such a unique factor with the new mechanic with Cappy, where you can control pretty much any enemy you want in the game, making the whole game so unique and having so many things to do and so many new things to try. What does Super Mario Sunshine give them? A hose. What does Super Mario Galaxy do? Put Mario in space. What does Mario Odyssey do? Make Mario be able to turn into a Chain Chomp, Hammer Bro, or a frickin' T-Rex. And the main game is amazing, where you get to go through all these amazing and beautiful worlds. And then you finally get to have a showdown with Bowser to stop his force weapon with Peach. The post-game is kind of boring if you ask me, where you're just collecting moons so you can be rewarded with 2 difficult levels. But the main game is where it's at, and it gives you a whole new adventure, such a fun new journey, and that's what the whole game is all about. Yeah, Super Mario Odyssey is not number 1. I have been seeing what some people were suggesting were the best games of 2017. They've been saying things like Super Mario Odyssey, Persona 5, and Breath of the Wild, but come on guys. Resident Evil 7 is where it's at. Now this is a great way for Resident Evil to celebrate their 20th anniversary. If you didn't like Resident Evil 6, then you'll love Resident Evil 7. Just give it a shot, I bet you'll enjoy it. And then the story is outstanding. You play as Ethan, and you try and rescue your wife Mia from the Baker family. And you've also got a lot of horror in this. You've got hack and slash horror from Jack, you've got fear of insects from Marguerite, and you've got psychological horror from Lucas. You've also got a clown, but I think more people will think of this clown from 2017. And you've also got creepy enemies, disturbing environments, and you've got amazing boss fights. But wait, there's more. If that were it, then this would probably be number 2, or just barely be number 1. But this game also has great DLC. It's got creepy DLCs, such as Bedroom, Nightmare, and 21, and it's also got the recently released DLCs, Not a Hero and End of Zoe, which are also phenomenal. You've got Not a Hero, where you play as Chris Redfield and go after Lucas Baker and see a lot of crazy and disturbing shit. And then there's End of Zoe, where Zoe's been infected, and you play as Joe Baker to try and bring her back to normal, and you go through everything with your fists, probably to make people appreciate the Ustanik boss fight from Resident Evil 6 more, while also seeing Chris punching the rock in Resident Evil 5 as a joke. This game got everything right. It brought so much to the table and did everything perfectly. Like, I can't see how this can't be number 1. It deserves to be the best game of the year. And what did Breath of the Wild do? Nothing that was better than Resident Evil 7, that's for sure.